And keeping with the Civil War primary source study, we're going to go over the Confiscation Acts. Now, the Confiscation Acts are really important as they shape the immediate and constant dedication Lincoln has for colonization, getting rid of black folks. The first version of the Confiscation Act was in 1861, August 6th of 1861. And it's talking about contraband, which contraband is anything that you take of your opponents in war and you keep it. So that's contraband. In these people's mind, black people, slaves, were property. So when they took them, they weren't prisoners of war. The North saw them as things. So that's why we can't get caught in this mindset of the North was good and the South was bad as it came to black people. They took them just like they would take rifles or cannons or anything that would, horses. And once they had them, they didn't classify them as people. And that's in the books now. They classified them as contraband. So Lincoln's communication made no such distinction. So these great emancipator, egalitarian images are definitely not evident upon him becoming president. So the people who say that he was always this egalitarian, all right, that's actually out to lunch, because we see his references are consistent with those of the South, where it says all such property hereby declared to be lawful subject of prize and capture wherever found. And it shall be the duty of the President of the United States to cause the same to be seized, confiscated, and condemned. Any person claimed to be held to labor or service under the law of any state shall be required or permitted by the person to whom such labor or service is claimed due, or by the lawful agent of such person, to take up arms against the United States. The person of whom such labor or service is claimed to be due shall forfeit his claim to such labor. Okay. Fancy talk to say, if a person who, how'd they put it, who is held to labor, slavery, that's what that means. If they catch this person that is being used to take up arms against the United States, the person of whom such labor or service is claimed to be due shall forfeit it. You just lost your slave. So what is that talking about? Emancipation. Now, what our Lincoln apologists are going to say is that says emancipation and it doesn't mention colonization. Well, in the same year, in fact, 4 months later, August, September, October, November, December, Lincoln recognizes Haiti and Liberia. Now, he's already a member of the American Colonization Society. He has spoken positively about it since 1852 and then reaffirmed that in 1858. And now in 1861, he's saying we can emancipate the slaves, because anything that is government regulation, any freeing of a person by a government, that's emancipation. Manumission is if a private citizen does it. So we're already seeing he's already in motion of colonization is becoming president. And months after this, he recognizes Haiti and Liberia. But then, after he recognizes Haiti and Liberia, 7 months later, he goes back to the Confiscation Act because he didn't do enough. And when we get to Article 12, the President of the United States is hereby authorized to make provisions for the transportation, colonization, and settlement in some tropical country beyond the limits of the United States of such persons of African race made free by the provisions of this act as may be willing to immigrate. Now, there's an immediate combination of emancipation and colonization. Now, in his December 3rd, 1861 speech, Lincoln, that's his address to Congress, Lincoln again mentions colonization and emancipation. Now, why is that important? There are a lot of people, Lincoln historians, that claim that Lincoln was either pushing emancipation or colonization, or was using colonization to get racist whites to back emancipation. Emancipation as early as December of 1861, as president, was presented in tandem with colonization. So this particular act, the First and Second Confiscation Act, is extremely significant in the timeline of American legislation that is talking about freeing people. That's emancipation. But when it's coupled with colonization, now we have to look at the mindset of the people that is offering this type of emancipation and clarifying that emancipation is not the same thing as freedom. To emancipate someone just breaks the legal ownership, that does nothing socially, that offers no protection. It offers no protection to the people protecting themselves. So when people say, he wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, what does emancipation really mean? What was how did emancipating black people help them? If I let you go, but you can't own anything, I let you go, but you don't have a home. I let you go, but you don't have any food. I let you go, but you can't protect your family. I let you go, but I am doing nothing about the people who are terrorizing you. What did I really do? Why is emancipation the great emancipator? Why is that a historical plus? It's really handcuffing somebody. I'm I'm offering you no protection as a citizen. I'm offering you no inclusion as a citizen. I'm not even allowing you the ability to take care of yourself. I'm not just leaving you on an equal playing field and say, well, if you defend yourself, you're fine. There are laws immediately in place and remained in place because after the war is over, the rich Southerners went back to Congress. That's where the black codes and stuff came from. There were no war crimes against the South. So the immediate need was not to abolish the conditions of racism and bigotry. It was about a means to an end, that being the Civil War. So again, a strict, unbiased reading of the primary sources tell the story.